Hello, everyone in the five continents, and welcome to another edition of our English International online meetings. This morning, we have three beautiful and wonderful professionals from Bolivia, Beatriz, Andrea, and Eileen. Hello, Beatriz, Andrea, and Eileen.
Hey, Jaime, how are you?
Hello.
Hello,
Hello.
hello, and thank you for being here. Okay, as usual, let me share my screen. Here it is. So today, as I said before, this is the 147th International English Online Meeting, and today, thank God, is June the 14th, 2026. If you want to watch our webinars, past webinars from 2020 to 2026, you can watch them in our YouTube channel. Okay, if not, you can watch them Facebook Live in my Facebook account. This is something that I love, Mary Scholl. Could you please read it out for us?
Sure. Education is for improving the lives of others and for leaving your community and the world better than you found it. Marian Wright Edelman. I always wanted to work for her when I was in college. She was my main idol.
No way.
Yeah.
Mary, you know everyone.
Well, I don't know her personally, but I totally admire her work.
But I'm sure,
She spent her whole life working for children, and
but I'm sure that
children.
she has heard of you.
I don't think so. I don't think so, but that's a sweet dream.
Okay, who are our next guest speakers in 2026? Well, Mary Scholl, believe it or not, will be with us talking about her deepest secrets about, about her life. That'll be on June the 28th, just in 2 more weeks. And then we will have 𝗘𝗴𝗶𝐵⁴ from Panama on July the 12th. Then Maria Mareco from Argentina on July 26th. Then Lorena Ojeda from Argentina in August. Later, we'll have the episode number 2 with our good friend Rana Bilal Anwar from England. He will be talking about his secrets, his life experiences, and all the secrets to survive in this world. Then in October, we'll have Ofelia Mendoza from Mexico, then Rafael Cervantes, Orale, from Mexico in October. Then the last one from Honduras and Nicaragua, Gracia and Julio. Okay, and who are our guest speakers today? Well, as I said before, Beatriz. This is a photo that I stole from your Facebook account, dear Beatriz. Well, Beatriz, Fulbright alumna, TESOL specialist, and teacher trainer, is an associate professor at the Higher University of San Andres and San Pablo Bolivian Catholic University. With extensive teaching experience in Bolivia and the USA, Beatriz promotes autonomy, motivation, and critical thinking. She has presented at numerous national, international conferences. Beatriz has published on EFL, pedagogy, technology, integration, and teacher's identity. And she also reviews for leading journals and foster professional growth across global networks. Thank you, dear Beatriz, for giving us part of your time on a Sunday morning. Two new professors. I love new professors because they are the new blood in Latin America. Welcome, dear Andrea. Andrea, it's a truly passionate Bolivian linguistic, passionate about finding creative ways to help people learn new languages. She holds a degree in linguistics and languages and loves using communicative language teaching and grammaring to help her students use English naturally in their everyday lives. Andrea balances her time as a freelancer teacher as an English academy in Peru and Spain. Oh, I didn't know. Her background also includes experience as a technical interpreter in medical, financial, and legal fields. Oh, I already admire dear Andrea. And finally, at last but not least, Eileen holds a degree in linguistics and languages from Universidad Mayor de San Andrés in Bolivia, La Paz, Bolivia. As an innovative educator, her professional focus centers on developing modern methodologies and dynamic learning tools designed to optimize second language acquisition. So thank you, dear ladies from Bolivia, for giving us part of your time. And thanks, dear Marisol, and all the people who are here present in our webinars, and also people who are listening to us and watching us in Facebook Live. Okay, dear Beatriz, the screen is all yours. You may start.
Thank you so much, dear Jaime. Thank you to all the people that are joining us here from all over the world in this Zoom meeting, Facebook, and it's always a beautiful and amazing experience to be with you. I'm not sure if you can see my screen.
Yes, we do.
Okay, thank you so much. That's usually the most difficult part. Last year, you asked us if there was the possibility that I could make a presentation with my students. At the time, Andrea and Eileen were not my students per se, but I was her tutor. They were working on a project degree to graduate and become licenciadas. So one of the things that I loved the most working with these young women was they were open-minded. So they wanted to have a certain project, but things did not go so well, so they had to change. They had difficulties, but they did not give up. It's very easy to start working as soon as you graduate, and sometimes we forget to, go all through the process of graduarnos and have the professional title and everything. So they contacted me and I said, why don't we do this? They were interested in working with grammar, and they said, we would like to create something related to that for this institution. And they opened they opened their minds to some of my suggestions. And what we are going to share today is the result of the hard work of Andrea and Eileen, and a little bit of my suggestions, some things that I have shared with them. So go ahead, Eileen. What are we going to talk about today?
All right. Hello, good morning, everyone. Before we begin, let me briefly introduce the agenda for today's presentation. First, we will explain the concept of grammar and Grammarly, which provide a theoretical foundation for our project. Then we will discuss contextualization and why it's important in EFL teaching. After that, we will describe the creation of process of our handbook and show examples organized according to the form, meaning, and use proposed by Diana Larsen-Freeman. And finally, we will explain how technology and sign language were integrated into material to make learning more engaging and inclusive. So now let's begin with our objective. Next slide, please.
Okay, so well, as a teachers, we have a goal. So how we're going to achieve that goal? So for that reason, we need an objective. So to give you a clear picture from the start, let me share our main objective. Our goal was to create an innovative grammatical handbook that integrates the latest technologies, offering a modern, engaging, and interactive learning experience, and this especially for our students. Next slide, please.
Okay, so as you have heard, this was a project that the girls worked for over a year and a half. The idea was to help teachers help their students improve grammar. One of the things that I have learned during my many years of teaching is that grammar is a big issue in our classrooms. Students want to be taught grammar, and it has happened to me. I had this class that complained about me because I was teaching it deductively, and I was, inductively and doing this and doing this. So they're trying to avoid like these boring explanations, but working on the things. And they said, Beatriz doesn't teach us. We want her to teach us. So they wanted me to be in front and, doing some teaching. But a big mistake that I used to do at the time was like, okay, this is the grammar that we have to teach. I explained the rules for like 30 minutes. And then I brought photocopies for everyone about some activities that I created myself or that I found on the internet at the time. And the students had to work on that. And then we moved back to the content of the material that I was supposed to be teaching. And students were not really able to connect that grammar issue to what we were supposed to do. And the girls faced the same challenge. And they wanted to do something that was more meaningful for the students. That was one of the things they said. We want to do something meaningful that is going to get better to them. So going through this picture that you see here, just teaching the theory and following the theories of big authors and teaching syntax and teaching the verb has to go before the subject when we are teaching the verb to be, and this is used in the past and this is used in the future. It was something that did not really work well for them. And I'm going to give you an example. I am going to give you an example, and I would like to ask people to participate here a little bit, please. I am an English speaker. It's my L2, and then somebody calls me, and this is a real story. Somebody calls me, and they were two people from New Zealand that they were visiting La Paz, and they decided to have some Spanish classes so they could polish it a little bit. And their main concern was grammar. So we met at Alexander Coffee Shop, and while we were enjoying Bolivian coffee, they mentioned this. We watched the news, and this guy said, and please attention, eso se va a acabar, eso se acabó, eso se está acabando. And their question was, well, when do you use those? Because that's what they heard on the news. And please, I would like, maybe you can use the chat, or maybe you can unmute yourselves and give me ideas. How would you teach this? How would you teach these Spanish sentences to people that in the same situation come to you and said, help me, I want to understand this grammar? What would you do? So I'm checking the chat. No ideas? No one?
Anybody, please? If you want to open up your microphone,
Yes, here.
Yeah,
Hello.
go on,
please,
Lucia.
Lucia.
Yeah, I think I would give them more examples. I would contextualize a little bit the structures, and I would give them more examples of each of those, I mean, the verbs in their different forms. That's what I would do.
Thank you so much. And that was my main intention. But as you said, I would give it more context. And something in my head was like, where did you hear that? And at the time, there was this big movement. We went through very hard situations in 2019, just before the pandemic. And the president had been, asked to abandon the position, and he wanted to be president like forever, and the Bolivian people said no to him. And then there was a new government that had to call just elections to elect somebody else. And there was this news host on a TV program interviewing a diputada, a person from our parliament, and he said, es cierto que los del anterior gobierno están controlándolos, abusándolos a ustedes, que son del partido del anterior gobierno, that you are part of the political party of the old government, and they are bullying you because you were against of this president to be a dictator and an eternal president in Bolivia. And then the host said, eso se va a acabar, that bullying, se va a acabar, and se acabó. And then he realized what he was asking, and then he said, o se está acabando. And these girls from New Zealand heard that and they didn't understand. So if I put just like 3 questions, it doesn't make any sense. But with all that explanation, if you understand what the situation was at the time, then it makes lots of sense. And that is one of the principles that you have to, take into account when you teach grammaring. Grammaring, that, as Eileen said, was developed by Diane Larsen-Freeman. The term grammaring was, in fact, coined by 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 said, grammar should not be thought as an isolated issue, should not be thought as a sub-skill. It should be thought as skill number 5, and it should be taught considering all the process, all the dimensions, everything that is involved there. So then Diane Larsen-Freeman wrote this book called From Grammar to Grammaring. And then she explained that we cannot teach grammar isolatedly. Grammar is a skill that it could be productive. It should be called the 5th skill. We should not talk about the 4th skill. And it should be thought as a dynamic process, not simply as an area of knowledge that students need to master. Yes? And it's Thornbury added a couple of years later that grammaring, teaching grammar, it's a process that it's a verb. It's not a noun. When we say grammar, it's a noun, and then it becomes like kind of subjective. But when we say grammaring, it's an action that you have to take. It has to be active, a dynamic process that is going to involve these 3 dimensions. Usually, we focus on this one, form. We are very interested in students knowing the subject, the verb, and the complement. We don't provide enough examples for them to say, oh, I use the simple past in these situations. And sometimes the activities we give them, they are a quiz or they are a photocopy. Students have to fill in the verb in the different forms, but they mean nothing to them. And Diane Larsen-Freeman said, this is something that we have to change. We have to help students understand when we use them. We have to teach form because it has to be accurate, but more importantly, it has to be part of who they are, right? And when we consider these 3 points, form, use, and meaning, and we think of grammaring as a 5th skill and a dynamic process, you're going to notice that is in everything that we teach to our students, from the interpretation that you can give to a certain structure. So it's not the same to say, I am sad, I may be sad, I should be sad. We're talking about the same feeling, but different grammar structures are going to give a different opinion, a different situation. And yes, it has to be accurate. Why? Because our students, they feel embarrassed when they do not speak good English. And we were talking about that, Jaime, just a few minutes ago, right? That what we do is like we feel afraid that we are going to speak or say something stupid and people will either laugh or notice it and maybe they will not respect us. I felt that as well. So grammaring involves helping our students to learn grammar through listening, through reading, through speaking, through writing, actively all of them combined, and having this idea that I'm going to observe, I'm going to see, I'm going to learn, I'm going to apply, and I'm going to reinforce it. So yeah, grammar and grammaring are extremely important. They are necessary. That is something that we need to give to our students. But the most important here is that grammaring emphasizes that making meaning in context appropriate ways, dynamic ways, pragmatic ways is the most essential aspect. So when the girls decided to work on this project, that was one of the first challenges that they had to face. Andrea, please continue.
Okay. So here you can observe contextualization. So we thought that why, as teachers, we don't contextualize what they are learning. But what contextualization means? Well, when we talk about it, it is like taking out language from a generic book that we have everywhere. A lot of books talking about grammar, but sometimes this is understandable for students because they use some terms that maybe are kind of abstract for them. So we thought, why we don't contextualize by localization our material? For example, in this case, the Bolivian culture. Why we cannot include traditions, their daily life from students. So that's why we decided to focus in contextualization. So in that way, this makes the language immediately relatable for students, meaningful for them, and also easier to internalize. Okay? So at the same time, we consider that we can use, for example, I'm explaining grammar to my students. But in one example that I'm seeing, it says subway. But in Bolivia, we don't have subway. How I can explain that to my students if they don't know what subway is? So for that reason, I can change subway to another word. For example, minibus. We use minibus. We use micros, or maybe you say bus. Yes, it is something that they already know. And also we contextualize with their own culture. So for example, if I want to teach them how to use present simple, okay, so let's start with your daily life routine. So they mention what do they do, the name of their own school, the breakfast that they have in the morning, for example. They cannot say, oh, I have breakfast and I eat some waffles or some pancakes. No, they sometimes eat, like, for example, a marraqueta with cheese and a coffee. Well, if it's a children or something like that, no, it is different, you know. So yes, or api con buñuelos. Oh, that's a delicious thing. So that's why we wanted to contextualize grammar in this part, okay? And also with this contextualization, we empower our students. In that way they can speak, they don't get nervous, they don't get frustrated because they don't understand some words or maybe the structure, you know. So that's why using this contextualization, we can help them to internalize everything, to don't get some structures and that remains like they are not going to use it anymore because they forgot it, or they get nervous because they don't remember that word that comes from, for example, American culture. You know, I'm not saying that it's bad, but I'm saying that if you contextualize the material, it's gonna be better for your students. You're gonna have more results on that. So that's why we decided to add it. Okay, so please, next slide. So this is one of the most important part for us because with this we started our handbook, the creation process. So how we're going to achieve everything? The first thing, we have to compile information. where we're going to get information, bibliography. We have to check everything. Then, now that we have all the things that we want to use, we have to contextualize the context. So we have to create sentence, but we have to add the Bolivian culture there. Then we have to apply FUM, form, use, and meaning. For that reason, our students are able to see how we can use the structure, the form that the structure has, and then they are able to perform what they have learned. At the same time, it is important that nowadays we can apply different technologies, like for example, AI, that nowadays is very used. We can do a lot of things with technology. So as teachers, we have to be like very into these kind of things, because our students are sometimes better knowing how to use certain things than us. So that's why we have to learn every day how to use technological in our classroom. And finally, as a plus, we added sign languages. So next slide, please. Okay, so as I mentioned about the creation process, we're not designers, but we wanted to try our best using different platforms, different tools to create our book. So we use, like for example, Canva that help us to create like the covers of each topic that we're gonna see in a moment. And also some pictures like conversation, and also we used AIs to create some readings and some listenings too. That's why I wanted to explain a little bit more in a moment. So next slide, please. Okay, so this is a part of our handbook. In this part, you can see use. But what about this? How can I understand this part? So it is a normal conversation that says, hi, my name is Roberta and I'm from La Paz, Bolivia. So now they are understanding that we are talking about where are you from, you know? So the answer says, hi, my name is Luis and I'm from Bolivia too. So you can observe an interaction using, in this case, the verb to be. Next slide, please. Okay, the same in this part. The conversation is continuing. We are using different phrases for them to understand. And once they understand this part without knowing grammar, then we can go to the next step, the form. Next slide, please. Okay, here we have also some conversation from our handbook. So in this part, they are talking about Christmas and things that we do in Christmas in specifically Bolivia. Next slide, please. The same here. So we ended with this because we have a lot of traditions here in Bolivia, and also they are talking about the chantunqui, that is dance. So yes. So for example, you can see here, of course, I have danced chantunqui since 2005. Awesome. So here you can observe the present perfect. Okay, the present perfect structure. That's why we have to include this. The book is focused only in verbal tenses. Just that, because we had to be very specific in that and just cover one part. So it is only verbal tenses. Next slide, please. Okay, so what I was talking about before, this is the form. So as you already know, the form is in all the places, all the book that you can read. In this case, we created the form focused on contextualization and localization. So that's why you can observe some sentences like, I am a pretty paseña, you are from rural, he is a Quechua teacher, she is 14 years old, it is very cold in Potosí, we are Tinkus dancer, you are happy at a las citas. and you are inside the Muela del Diablo. That is a beautiful place that you can visit if you come here to La Paz. So also at the same time, we explain the grammar structure that is very important too. And a part of the use that you can observe that it says, "Hi, my name is Roberta and I am from La Paz, Bolivia." Also with that picture, they can identify how they can use the verb to be. In this case, it's the affirmative form, and also we have the negative and interrogative form. Next slide.
Okay, now I would like to focus on the third dimension. Meaning refers to the message that learners want to communicate instead of memorizing grammar structures in isolation. Students understand how those structures help them express ideas, experiences, and opinions. In our handbook, every activity was designed to help students connect grammar with meaningful communications and real-life context. In the reading section, meaning is developed through texts that are connected to the students' realities, daily life, culture, experience, rather than asking students to identify grammar rules immediately. We encourage them to understand the message of the text first. Once the students comprehend the context, they begin noticing how grammar structures contribute to the meaning of the message. So the next slide, please. This approach makes grammar more natural and easier to understand because it emerged from authentic communications. Students, as I mentioned, are not only learning grammar, they are learning how language functions to communicate ideas. So as you can see in every exercise, readings, examples, you can feel identified to your environment. To the next slide, please. The exercises were designed to reinforce meaning through contextualized practice. Instead of isolation sentences, students work with situations that resemble real-life communications. This allows them to understand why a particular grammatical structure is used and communicative purpose it serves. As a result, students develop both grammatical accuracy and communicative competences. And the listening activity is an example of how meaning can be integrated into grammar instructions. Students listen to authentic or semi-authentic language and focus on understanding the message first. In every part or at the end of the tense that you are learning, so you can access your audio files at the end. You can scan a QR code and it will quickly redirect you to your practice listening exercise. And if you don't have a physical copy of the book, you can also access the digital version. So you click on the link and we'll redirect you to your exercise and audio files. Next slide, please. Yeah. Now, I would like to highlight an important aspect of the meaning section. As the participants explore the activities in our handbook, they will notice that examples, exercise, and situations are closely connected to Bolivian culture and everyday life. Throughout the materials, students will find familiar names, places, traditions, food, celebrations, and contexts that reflect their own reality. So on the next slide, please. We intentionally designed the handbook this way because many English textbooks are produced in foreign countries, and often present contexts are distant from our students' experiences. Learners frequently encounter unfamiliar names or cities or customs. They may not resonate with their daily lives. While these materials are valuable because students can sometimes feel disconnected from the content because they don't see themselves reflected in it, it is just for the beginners students. For this reason, we wanted to create a resource where students could experience their own culture through English. Our goal was not only to teach grammar, but also to business identities and backgrounds while learning a new language. In other words, we want learners to live their reality in two languages. By connecting grammar with familiar context, students can focus more on meaning, communications, and personal expressions rather than simple memorization rules. We believe that when learners recognize their own culture in the classroom, language learning becomes more meaningful, engaging, and authentic. As you can see, we have examples. So, for example, you can read in this part, says, they studied Aymara yesterday. We know what is Aymara, so you can connect with the idea. And next slide, please. As teachers, we know that learning language is also learning about the cultures associated with the language. We are not trying to ignore or replace that reality. In fact, cultural awareness is an essential part of the language learning. However, we also believe that the students should have the opportunity to connect the new language with their own lives, experiences, and cultural backgrounds. For many beginners, English can sometimes feel distant or foreign when students constantly encounter unfamiliar names, places, traditions. For this reason, we wanted to create all of these materials. I am sure, I'm very sure that many teachers have experienced situations where students stop reading fluently because they encounter unfamiliar names or surnames or cities. They may struggle to pronounce and immediately think that English is difficult, when the challenge is not actually the language itself, but the unfamiliar context. So if you can read something that you know in your context, you're going to feel happy because you are learning. So that's why using familiar references, students can focus their attentions on the grammar and the message rather than trying to figure out every cultural references. This helps them feel more comfortable, more engaged, and more willing to participate. So the next slide, please. All right. Yes, as you can see, if you're reading some kind of text or some kind of reading that we create, you can find, for example, we put something delicious, expressions like a plato paceño, tucumanas. As I mentioned, if you know what is the meaning, now you are going to feel happy to start learning more. Next slide, please. All right. So, in our technological integration, the technology was not included simply because it's an innovative. It was integrated strategically to support the principles of grammar and contextualized learning. One of the most innovative aspects of our project was the integration of technology throughout the handbook creation process. First of all, we use Gemini, Google's artificial intelligence tools, to generate images that watch the context of our activities. The process begins by writing a detailed prompt, which is a description of the image we wanted to create. The more specific the prompt is, the more accurate the generated image becomes. For example, if we want an image related to daily life in La Paz, we describe the setting, the people, and the action taking place. Gemini then analyzes the prompt and creates original images based on the description in just a few seconds. Then we use Canva, as my partner mentioned. After generating images, we use Canva to design the handbook. Canva is an online graphic design platform that provides templates, images, icons, and editing tools. We use Canva to create the covers page, organize the content, design the grammar explanations, and develop interactive exercise. The process is simple. You can select the template, upload images, and add text and activities, organize the context, and finally export final pages. Then the QRs. To connect printing materials with digital resource, we incorporate the QR codes. A QR code works by storing a link instead of a scannable image. When a student scans the code using a mobile device, they are automatically redirected to additional content such as videos, the audio recordings, online exercise, or external resource. If you can use this app, it's easy. Just you can copy the link, generate the QR code. You can insert the QR code into the handbook. Students can scan and access the content. Another thing that we use is called 𝗓𝗄𝐻𝗲 audio creations. The 𝗓𝗄𝐻𝗲 is an AI voice generation platform that converts writing text into realistic speech. To create the recordings, we first wrote the scripts, select the voice characteristics such as accent. You can select the gender and speaking speed, and then generate the audio automatically. The process, easy. You can write the script, select the voice, adjust the setting, and generate the audio, and then you can download and insert into activity. Then we use Powtoon. Powtoon is to create animated educational videos. Powtoon allows users to combine characters, animations, voices, overs, text, and visual effects into short educational presentations. And finally, we use ChatterKit. Another tool that we use a lot and the students love it is ChatterKit. It's an application that allows users to animate images and make them speak using recorded or generated audio. The process is simple to use this. First, you can select an image or character. Then we record a message or upload an audio file. Third, ChatterKit automatically synchronizes the speech with the image. So the next, please. Now we want to show you some examples that our students use in the classroom.
These are videos that the students produced. So, oopsie daisy, I'm sorry.
Hi, Professor. Would you mind
with
No,
scarf
it's okay.
and sugar, and thank you.
So this video was produced by a student talking about 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. We love 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. It's very good for you, just in case, and it cleans your body. There's another beautiful example now.
I'm the majarito. I'm going to be the most delicious and exquisite dish in the whole world. Neither the salted rice nor the rice with seafood are going to compare with me. I always going to be accompanied by my good plating and my good egg, which they're going to be really good cooked.
So majadito is a traditional dish from the eastern part of our country, Santa Cruz, Beni, Pando. Students had to do their homework, find out about it, and then they recorded it. Also, girls gave the students the opportunity to choose what they wanted to talk about. That was very helpful for them. We have another example.
Hello, my name is Marraqueta. I am a bread. Every day the bakers take me out early to sell me. I am always at to eat one's breakfast along with a piece of cheese. Sometimes they put butter on me, but always with a delicious coffee. At lunch they almost always accompany their soup with a piece of marraqueta bread. Bye.
Marraqueta is our daily bread. We pray for it and we have it. If you're paseño and you don't like marraqueta, probably you are a bad paseño. The traditional breakfast in La Paz is a marraqueta, as Andrea said, marraqueta with coffee and cheese. And we always prefer to have marraquetita. So students choose things that they like to produce these videos. Andrea?
Thank you. So another plus that we added to our handbook, it is sign language. But why sign language? Well, language is more than just spoken or written words. And nowadays, we have to be very inclusive with them. So that's why, as a plus, we added these two videos. Well, there are more than two videos, but these videos are focused on some daily phrases, easy phrases that the students can copy with the signs that this beautiful girl is doing. And you can access to those videos if you have the book printed, you can scan the QR code, or if you have the digital book, you can click on the link and watch the videos. Maybe, dear Beatriz, if you could play one of the videos. I don't know if they are working. Okay, so here you can say the phrase, you can see the phrase good morning. Morning. So this is one of the part of the first page of our
Greetings.
book, or the latest, I think. I don't remember very well. But yes, you can observe there the video. And then we have another one. If you please, Beatriz, click on it. Then you have some phrases like nice to meet you. You have hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, how to say thank you, and also goodbye. So that's why we added this inclusive video for our students, for them to learn a little bit of language sign.
So the idea of the girls, and they surprised me and said, Beatriz, we want to include sign language. And I was like, why? Because we don't want our students to forget that other students have different kind of needs and necessities. So in this way, maybe we are going to help them to communicate with a friend or a cousin or a classmate that has this different necessity, and making them feel part of who they are. And I was very impressed by that attitude. And I said, yeah, go for it. It's a great idea. And they have included these videos in different units, just the small things like finishing the unit, and students can learn also that. Andrea, I think it's you.
Okay. Yes. But I think I will need to share my screen. Because I would like you to see a part of our handbook. So just give me one moment, maybe.
Going to stop?
No, it's okay. I think I can share my screen too. So maybe if you can let me know if you can see it. Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Yes, perfect. Okay, so here we have part of our book. Here we have the simple past. As you can observe, it is very cultural. We have our flag, a llama, and things that you can identify. Here we have the usage. They are having a conversation about Bolivian history. Then we have the form of the past simple, how can we use it, and things like that. Also the affirmative, negative, and interrogative form. But if you can observe, here we have the affirmative form. After affirmative form, we have the meaning, where they can perform what they have learned. So they have to do this exercise. Then we have the negative form, and again, they have to perform what they have learned. The same happened with the interrogative form. They know how we can use this, and then they have to perform it. But here we added the QR code for you to access to the video that you already watched, the sign language. So yeah, you can click on it, or maybe you can scan it. Then you have the reading. This talks about tasting Bolivia, a culinary adventure. So everything is about Bolivia. In this case, we can talk about sopa de maní, salteñas, pique macho, and most of the food that we have here in Bolivia. Then you have to answer this question based on what they have read. After that, we have listening, writing activities for them to practice more. So that will be just a little part of what we have done with our book. So that will be that. So I will stop sharing this. Now we can proceed, Beatriz.
Thank you so much. As you can see, the purpose was to follow exactly the principles of grammar. When the girls introduced the conversation, they always went back to that part of the conversations that students had seen it in use and then apply it like specifically, but everything related to the culture and identity. Okay, so, sorry. We would like now to stop and answer any questions we may have. As you could see, this is the work that took almost 2 years, and they worked very hard to create everything to make this accessible for this new generation of students. Students that are constantly, you know, paced. They are really paced. I said you are stick to your cell phones. They need to go to the bathroom with their cell phones. So when students have this handbook that they can access through the cell phone or through their tablet, and then they have interactive activities using the technology, they feel like, okay, this is for me, right? They feel identified with it. The teacher is always supporting and helping. Students are more active. Working, creating something like this, where the students feel that it's their own, I think it's extremely valuable. The part that I loved the most when the girls came with this idea was reinforcing this identity that we have. I had an experience with a colleague from Alabama. We were working on a coil project. And I asked my students, to find out some traditions and explain that to students that were not Bolivian, that were from other countries. And when we had our reflective meeting to talk about the experience, they said, I found who I am. I found my identity when we talked about our things. And it was a great experience talking about our dances, our food, our culture in English to other people that made me realize who I am as a Bolivian. And that was the spirit that guided the girls when producing this book. So thank you very much to all of you. And if you have any questions or comments, we'll be very, very happy to answer. These are some of the references, not all of them that were used, but probably the most important. And in case you would like to contact us, this is our information. Thank you so much.
No, thank you, dear Beatriz, Andrea, and Eileen. I just want to congratulate you for your hard work. This is something that I've been trying to do for a long time, but as I heard, it took you 3 years. So
Almost. 2 years?
almost. So I will start very soon to do this. I just love your work. Congratulations, Andrea and Eileen and Beatriz. So now let's give everyone some time to make a question, to make a comment, brief question, brief comment, please. I have many comments, but I would like anybody here, Juan, Joseph, Sandra, Angela, Monique, Lucia, Diego Ismael, Alicia, Roxana, Pedro, Alicia, Mariela, Nancy, Ana, Jimena, Jose, Jen, Eva Maria, Malak, and Maisa to make a question or a comment if you have one. Lucia, go on. Open up your microphone and make your question
Yes.
or
Can you
comment.
hear me?
Oh,
Can you hear me?
perfectly, perfectly.
Yeah, okay. I wanted to congratulate you, the girls and Beatriz, for this book, let's call it like that you have designed. I'm really impressed because you used everything handy to do your best. I mean, it's a good job, and the addition of sign language I think that makes a big difference because we don't have books. English texts that we use in the schools do not have anything for the deaf students that we have in our classrooms. Years ago, I attended, I had to supervise teachers of English in a public school here in Antofagasta. And they had, in one class, they had 5 deaf students. And so they were 8th graders. And the two teachers of English had to design material for those students. They didn't know how, and they started studying sign language, and they did a good job, but nobody could give them a hand to do that because we didn't know how to do it. And so more than the technology, I don't know much about technology because, well, I'm a boomer or something like that. Yes. I belong to another generation and I'm trying to learn about technology, but sign language has been one of the things that I would love to learn for those deaf students that really want to learn English as well. So, congratulations. I'm so happy that I could join you this morning. And I think that I'm going to get in touch with you because it's in my interests to know more about this type of things, book design and the technology that you used, but especially the sign language, how you did that. It's amazing. Really, congratulations. You have done a great job.
Thank you,
Thank
dear
you so
Lucia. I agree with you 100%. Thank you for your comments. Something to say, Beatriz, Andrea, Eileen, before we go with another colleague here in the meeting?
First, thank you so much for your words, Lucia. Yes, Andrea and Eileen had this bright idea to include sign language because they wanted to make it inclusive. And there are lots of other types of students that require to be acknowledged. Although their idea is not teach sign language, but to acknowledge that we have these students and they deserve the opportunity.
Yes.
Also, I have learned something very interesting. When you teach a person that hears or that sees, how to adapt to a student that maybe doesn't hear or does not see, they develop this empathic attitude and they understand that things are a bit different. And I personally feel that they learn more when they have to adapt to a different way of teaching. And Lucia says something extremely important. We don't know how to do it. We have to improvise many times. We are like swimming in very dark waters and we are not the best swimmers, but we try our best. And I think that's the spirit that Andrea and Eileen had. Yes, girls?
Yes.
Okay, let's hear somebody else's opinion, comment, or question, please. Anybody else? Please, anyone else who wants to express? Yeah, Juan
Me,
Rafael
Jaime.
in Mexico, go on.
Yeah, me. Yeah, I want to say something. Congratulations on the great presentation, girls. It is that kind of presentation where you included all details in 30 minutes, maybe more, maybe less. You expressed a lot of work, a lot of details of the wonderful world of teaching. Grammar, talking about grammar is difficult because in general, students don't see grammar like something friendly, but you made it. Sorry for the noise, but we are in the family lunch together. But you made it that grammar look easy and you included many details. And I was thinking about the concept because honestly, I didn't see it before about grammaring. And that's the way students love it. I love it because I love your presentation because you were thinking always on the students and the combination here of all the experience of my friend Beatriz Erazo coordinating the work and the wonderful ideas of Andrea and Eileen. They were really concepts thinking on the students, thinking on how to make it easy, how to make English teaching practice better, and I really love it. I remember that I used to teach like 7 years ago functional grammar in the university, and that's the way I wanted to share the students that, okay, grammar is difficult, you don't like it, but well, this course is going to be the way you will teach in order to show that grammar is important, but it's also practical. It is the way we usually use language in our day-to-day. So thank you for the wonderful presentation, and I really enjoyed.
Thank you. Thank you, dear Juan Rafael. Yeah, functions is another good and beautiful topic. Anybody else, please, before Beatriz, Andrea, and Eileen say their final words today in their presentation, excellent presentation. Anybody
Hi,
else?
maybe. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, Angela, go on.
All right, so I'm really impressed, and well, that's why I told you at the beginning that I really love these kinds of presentations and Beatrice presentations, because they are really interesting, right? Grammar is not easy to teach. Most of the time, as they said, we focus on some handouts, and that's it, they have to complete, but we cannot consider all the things that I have mentioned, and I think that is really awesome. And the teachers, I mean, all of them, they were the ones who were working in this great project, gave us different kinds of ideas to work on grammar properly, right? It's not just giving some handouts, it's working on the whole part, considering that grammar is a skill. So congratulations, great presentation. I consider that all of us learned so much how to work, and this amazing word, which is teaching. We always keep teaching, we always keep learning, and that's really awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, dear Angela. Well, I've been taking some notes, and this handbook, I'm sure that soon will turn into a book, right, Beatriz?
Well, that's the idea with the girls,
Okay,
and they are working
I
on the
wonder,
process of
I would like to
editing.
have the first edition, please, book, so you can sign it to me when I go to Bolivia. I'm sure that you have covered grammar, listening, videos, and also sign language. That's great because you are paying attention to different kind of needs. Also, with this type of material, I can say that students will reinforce their knowledge and identity about their own culture. And something that I also love and I also pay attention to in my classes is to show familiar context. Because when we use a book which was published from England or the USA or any other country, it doesn't show familiar context. And it also reduces the affected filter because the students will feel more motivated, more open, more anxious, more eager to participate in class. And I just love the work you've been doing, girls. I have to say, I feel I've been teaching for 38 years and I always wanted to do this and I haven't done it yet. And well, Andrea and Eileen, you just been teaching for 3, 4, 5 years. And I say, wow, that's the new generation of teachers. Well, thank you to everyone who has been here present in the webinar and also in the Facebook Live. Now it's time for you to say a few words before you go home or keep on doing what you are supposed to do on a Sunday morning. So, Eileen, please, your final message to the audience. Eileen.
Okay. First of all, thank you for your comments. I appreciate to you because this is the second time that we show our handbook, and I'm feel happy to be here and listen to your comments.
Thank you, dear Eileen. And I'm sure that very soon people in other countries and universities will be contacting you to listen to your proposal. Thank you. Andrea?
Okay, first thing first. Jaime, thank you so much for this opportunity because we were able to share a little bit of what we have done. And also thank you so much, Beatriz, because you were always there to support our hard work. Yes, and your suggestions. And also Eileen, thank you so much because we did this possible. So thank you so much for people who are here, who were here to listen to us, what we did, and also what we have created with all our love, because we really want to help our students to improve their English and also to make them feel comfortable learning this beautiful language. So thank you so much to all of you.
Thank you, dear Andrea. And before Beatriz Erazo says something, let me remind you our next session will be on June 28th. We will have Mary Scholl. She will be talking about her life, her work, her experiences, everything, which I'm sure will help us to feel and do a better job, not only as a professional, but also as a human being. Okay? So now it's time for you, dear Beatriz. Your message, please, to our audience in the 5 continents.
Absolutely. When this project began, these young ladies were my students, quotation marks there, and now they are my colleagues. I'm so happy to call them my colleagues, my peers, and they have taught me a lot. And that's what we were sharing at the beginning of this presentation before, when you were interviewing us. We learned a lot from these young people all the time. They have taught me a great deal. And I was like, how do you do that? How did you do that? You have to teach me that. In all the process, I think I was the most benefited because they gave me a lot. So I hope they continue doing this. They complete all the series that they wanted to. Probably it's going to take a little bit longer. They are going to edit this, and hopefully you are going to visit us here in La Paz, Jaime, and they are going to give you a first edition, as they said.
I promise.
With them, and they are my colleagues now, and it was amazing. And Jaimito, thank you for all this job of joining, putting these webinars and these sessions, these events, when we become friends, when we become brothers and sisters of this great community of English teachers, that our only objective is to help the learning of our students so they can be happy. Thank you so much to you, Jaimito, and to all the audience.
Thank you, dear Beatriz, because without your help, without new blood, new teachers, this wouldn't be possible. So it's been 6 wonderful years that we have been learning from each other, and that's what I love about this community. So by the way, next year we will have, wow, past TESOL presidents. Next year we will have great professionals, but the most important, incredible human beings who want to share and collaborate with our development as human beings and professionals. So thanks everyone in the 5 continents. Let me show everyone. Okay, here we are. So thank you, Juan. Thank you, Angela, Monique, Lucia, Sandra, Joseph, Diego, Alicia, Jimena, Alicia, Pedro Morales, Roxana Tarki, Ana Zampata, Mariela Calle, and Anthony. I will share with you the official video, which will be in our YouTube channel, and lots of generations will see you and learn from you. So thank you, everyone, and see you in 2 Sundays. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
And keep on having fun, Juan Rafael, with the World Cup in your country.
I will.
Don't drink too much, Juan Rafael.
No, he has to drink for all of us. Come on.
Only cafe and tequila.
Please.
In that order, coffee and tequila. Bye-bye. Take care. Thank you, dear friends,
Bye.
in Facebook Live.
Thank